matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Well, yeah, folks, I'm telling you, this world and this blinding thing is really getting out of control. Last week, Kristen and I were talking about deception in the church, and, it used to be that you used to have to go outside the church to find deception, and now you can pretty well find it within the church. We used to have to really do research on outside cults like the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses and things like that, and in order to get some kind of look at what deception is, and those things are pretty clear and pretty true. You could see them from a half a mile away, basically. But nowadays, those things are old news, although they're still around. But so many people know about the JWs and the Mormons and the Oneness people and stuff like that. That you really don't have to talk about it that much. But the stuff within the church is really getting to be a problem. And we started out opposing the Matrix back in 2011 to expose things like the Nephilim and the fallen angels being the sons of God in the Scripture and things that people hadn't really heard of. And now those things are becoming more popular. You can go online, type in Google into Google search that Nephilim or sons of God, and out of the 100 links that you find, about 90 of them will be pretty good doctrine. Yeah, but 10% of them is going to be garbage. But like I said, those are easy to find. But nowadays, when a few weeks ago we talked about the church in Bethel Church down in Redding, California, and how the weird stuff that they're into, like grave sucking and stuff like that, and Dominion theology and things, and a lot of people haven't heard of that. Usually, the last 3 or 4 years when I've gone to church is, looking for a new church or something. If I move, if Barbara and I have moved, we look for a new church, and we found one several times. And when we decided we were going to stay after we visited about 3 or 4 times, I usually meet with the pastor, and I'll say, hey, have you ever heard of replacement theology? And sometimes they'll know, but most of the times you'll ask a pastor, have you ever heard of replacement theology? And they'll go, what's that? Have you ever heard of dominionism? What's that? And it's really something, because either these things are so new that they're new to the clergy out there, or they're not taught in seminary, excuse me, and either that or it's just people think it's not worth talking about, but it really is, because a little mustard seed, when it comes to faith, will grow into a mighty tree, and that works on the other side too. A spore of leaven will infect the whole loaf. Yeshua talked about that when he was talking about faith, but also that applies to the other side too. For a fact that one little rumor at your workplace or within your church will turn into a firestorm of talking about people not after very long, maybe a week or so. All of a sudden, you go to church and people are looking at you. But anyway, we've been going into that stuff lately because I think it's so important. And I know that a lot of people tuned into the show at the beginning because we were getting into the sensationalism of the Nephilim and the fallen angels, and Jim is really astute when it comes to Nazi UFOs and the inner Earth and things like that, and those things are really interesting to talk about. But if you're not talking about the assault that's coming against the church, or against the church within the church, I should say, then there's something wrong, and something has to be done about that. Now, I remember years ago, there was a cartoon, and it had 2 castles with a wide valley in between it, or a very deep valley anyway, and it had the one of them was the Christians, and the other one was evolution and atheism. The evolutionists were shooting at the foundation of the church and chipping it away, and the Christians were shooting at little balloons that were hanging up over the atheist castle. One of those balloons was abortion, another one was evolution, and just shooting at those things instead of shooting at the foundation, the very crux of those things. And you could tell just by the cartoon that the castle of the believers was going to fall a lot sooner than the atheist castle. And sometimes we have to get our priorities straight. And if we're talking about the Nephilim all the time, but we're neglecting the things that are going on within the body of Messiah, then we really have, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, because we're going to end up with a mortal wound while the enemy is just going to have a surface wound, and I'm not willing to sit back and watch that happen. Now, I'm sorry, I'm kind of meandering on here. Tonight we're going to talk about the book The Shack, for the most part, and Kristen was going to join me, and I called her, and we were having Skype issues, folks, and the things that have happened this week in order for us not to be able to do this show this week are amazing. I came up here day before last to do some homework, and my computer worked fine. I came up here last night or yesterday to look at things and to get things prepared for today's show, and to get some information off that computer, and it wouldn't start up. And as hard as I tried to get that computer to start, it wouldn't start, and I still got to mess with it. And then, so I came home, and I had to move everything over to the other computer, and I'm lacking a lot of stuff, but I've got enough to get on the air, and so I had to install Skype on here, and then I tried to call Kristen to get her on the show, and then her Skype, I believe it's her Skype, kept hanging up on me. So I called her, and she says, well, you know what, maybe I'm just not supposed to be on there tonight. And for the most part, I agree with that. If the Lord doesn't want us to do something, He's going to keep it from happening. But sometimes technical issues pop up that we need to overcome. But anyway, all that to tell you that Kristen's not going to be here tonight. She'll be here back next week with a different topic, of course. But and it's a shame, because she studied real hard to do this topic, and for some reason the enemy doesn't want us to talk about this. But you know what? Tough luck. We're talking about it anyway. And I could say tough luck because the enemy believes in luck. We have faith. He has luck. So we're just going to keep going on with it. But, before we get on to that, man, I've been watching the news, and things are getting really crazy, folks. It wouldn't surprise me if before November or in November that with the election looming and the result of the election looming, that Obama-Messiah would decide to somehow suspend the Constitution and nullify the election, write an executive order, which he seems to be able to do now without any opposition whatsoever from the rhinos in the Republican Party, which is all of them. And he will declare martial law and suspend the Constitution the rest of the way. And if you've listened to the episode, the last one we had with Ralph Epperson, back in December, I believe it was, you realize that the Constitution hasn't been in effect probably from the 1930s to today. They really put the kibosh on it. But more importantly, when the thing was written back in the 1780s, it was written to fail, basically. And if you want to listen to that show, it's in the archives, and you can go with that. And maybe before we get on with what we're going to talk about tonight, we've done some major drastic changing, and we have a listener and a brother in Yeshua. His name is Michael, and Michael called me one day and he says, your shows are really good, and I really think that they'll take off. And what I want to do is I want to put them on YouTube, and with a link and everything to YouTube, and I really think they're going to go. And I said, yeah, okay, go for it. So he's been working on that, and with all the different formats that we have. So anyway, if you go to like the delusionresistance.org, if you go to opposingthematrix.com, you're going to see little places up at the top that you can click on, and actually go to number one, the archives of all the shows that were ever done on Opposing the Matrix. Or you can click on check us out on YouTube, and Michael's been very good at turning the audio into YouTube presentations and putting them on there. And I mean, the guy's got about 10 or 12 of them on there already, and it's only not even been a week. So, anyway, so that's been a real blessing. So, there's a lot going on. There's been a lot of work that's been done on the websites and everything lately. So, we want to let you know that we're trying to get the show to you in every possible format that we can. And, I really do not want to forget, and I won't, Randall Mann, who has GWOW Radio, several, 2 or 3 different radio broadcasts on gwowradio.com. And he's been archiving our shows on his website as well as putting them on several of his formats, including iHeartRadio. So if you were to go to GWOW Radio, on iHeartRadio, you could actually be able to listen to Opposing the Matrix. So, I mean, it's really really grown this year and really kind of gone like a house on fire. So anyway, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to broadcast. I mean, I hope that, when I'm 80 years old, my last dying breath will be saying, good night, folks. But, the way things are going with the government and everything, I think that they're really going to clamp down. And if it goes 2 years, I would really be surprised. 2 years from this date. It would surprise the heck out of me if we didn't have martial law and soldiers running down our street that were trying to arrest us, take our guns away, and to enforce the rape of our civil rights. So anyway, we got to get in as much as we can while we can. And what's really neat about having the radio shows archived is, once you have them archived, you can put them on a thumb drive, and man, you can just give them out like candy, So I'm working on putting all the radio shows on thumb drives, and then if the time happens when we're shut down and everything else, we can distribute them that way. The Lord wants us to be ready for times such as that are coming, and I don't want to be remiss in listening to His voice and being obedient to Him. Being obedient, that's something that's going to factor into our show tonight. We're talking about the shack, as a matter of fact. But anyway, and what I'm going to be doing is in a week or two, well, not a week because we're going to have Kristen here, but the first time that she's going to be out working and I'm not going to be able to have her on the show, I'm going to go ahead and talk about, I've been working on a variety of different subjects, but I want to talk about this flat earth thing because it's really starting to get on my nerves. It's really taken off like a wildfire, and it needs to be addressed, folks. And it doesn't need to be addressed by looking at scriptures and then going into the Hebrew that much and everything else. It needs to be addressed by common sense. The things that you can see, the things that you have seen. There's just some people out there, folks, and I'm not going to mention any names, but if you've been around a little, you know what I'm talking about. But there's some well-known people in the UFO community that are going out and taking like one scripture or two scriptures at the most, and kind of blowing them out of context. I was going around with a guy about the hollow Earth because I believe the Earth is round. I'm sorry. Now it may be geocentric. I don't know. I'm still looking into that and studying that, but I know it's round and I know it's a globe. It's a sphere, and but these people are going around and oh my goodness, one person was saying that it's in a snow a globe, like a snow globe, that you used to get for Christmas, or you picked up when you went on holiday. These little things that with water, and you shake them and the glitter goes all over the place, or snow, or whatever it might be. At the Earth's like that. Well, there's there's so many things to disprove that, and to go into the Hebrew of the Tanakh and to try to say that this word means this or this word means that. Now, without going into the whole thing about it, I was talking to a fellow, not talking, but writing back and forth, who is pretty convinced that this lie of the flat Earth is real, and I told him that, Isaiah says that that God calls the Earth the circle of the Earth. He says, the circle doesn't have to be a globe; it can just be a circle. Well, yeah, that's true. And if you look at that word in Hebrew, it does mean a circle, but there's another word that is spelled the same and everything, even pronounced the same, but it's the verb part of that, and it does mean a sphere, to envelop or encircle, like a sphere. So, there are many ways to look at things, and just to come from it from one side is total misjustice.